I'm appreciative for being here today. I found your teachings about 3 years ago. I've come to realize that all my life I've been a very powerful creator, but I didn't always know it, and I wasn't always allowed to be. As a gay woman, there were a lot of forces that worked against me, and it was only recently that I realized that I was able to be who I'm meant to be.
It's going to sound like a strong and inaccurate statement, but it is strong but not inaccurate that we're going to make here, and that is that there are no forces that ever work against you. We know what you mean. We know what you mean by a public current or a mass consciousness mindset, but we would like you to all know that under all conditions, nothing works against you, but sometimes your observation of things causes your energy to split, and that's what works against you. It's sometimes a hard distinction to make. So let's say someone mistreats you. Well, it seems like that mistreatment is working against you, but that mistreatment is minor in comparison with your then response to it and feeling of disempowerment. We just want to start with an absolute accurate statement that says the only thing that ever works against anyone is their own energy that's going in opposition to their own desire. Now, of course, there are all kinds of influences that cause you to do that. And it is certainly understandable that Esther would say to us that she was unhappy about something or someone. And we would explain that to her. And she would say, Abraham, clearly you need more information. Because it seemed to her that this situation was causing the only response that she could give. And that's the thing that we want all of you as deliberate creators to come to understand. You do have the power to offer the response that serves you, not the response that is natural in a situation.
You're right, and that's what I've come to learn. Now, curiously, I have a sister who's also gay. She could not have children. I have 2 of my own, which have been wonderful. So I agreed to be a surrogate for her, and I carried twins 5 years ago for her. They were fraternal boys, wonderful children, and I see them often. One of the boys is just your typical all-boy, total testosterone, running around like a wild man. He's beautiful. The other boy is very feminine, and a year ago, his older sister played dress-up with him. He put a dress on, and a switch flipped. He wears dresses now. And at first, when he went to my sister to say, can I wear dresses to school? We said, no, just wear them at home, just wear them on the weekends. And I had a lot of conversations with my sister about this, and she came to feel okay about letting him wear dresses to school, to kindergarten. Of course, she's worried about him being teased and picked on and so on. What we first tried to do was get kilts.
She's worried about something that's natural to worry about, that he has not yet accomplished his own sense of who he is enough to withstand that in the face of other ridicule. In other words, that's what she's worried about. Probably isn't the case with him, but it is what she's worried about.
Oh, he's a very powerful creator, and we're seeing this as a 5-year-old. When we have discussions like, can a 5-year-old be this powerful of a creator?
Powerful enough to come forth being gay, that's pretty powerful.
We don't know that he is. He might be transgender, or he might just like wearing dresses. We take him shopping, and we purposely try to steer him at first to what she wanted him to be, more like his brother and athletic and the boy clothes. He was not having it at all. We could not change him at all. He would walk through the dress section, Mom, and he'd point to that dress, or he'd want that skirt. He only will shop at Justice now, if anybody knows what Justice is. And this child is 5 years old. And that's so beautiful. And what's beautiful is that my sister and I have these discussions about Abraham, which allow her to feel more comfortable with allowing him to be who he really is. Because she and I grew up not being allowed to be that. And that doesn't feel good.
Well, of all people, you should be the most allowing of someone. But the reason that it is hard is because even though you are both naturally allowing about that specific thing, because you felt not allowed, now your vibration has some of your resistant response to others. That's really what we've been talking about all day here today, isn't it?
Hers much so than I, because she's the mom.
It's not an easy thing to be in a physical body with others having attitudes and opinions and not notice their attitudes and opinions. But when you practice the deep understanding of everyone came intending not to be conditional in the way they feel. Almost everyone is conditional in the way they feel. But in their being conditional, in other words, if you be different than I feel different about you, in their being conditional, they are separated from who they really are. And it's an interesting thing. So let's be very clear. So let's say public at large, or let's just say a group of people, or just let's say a person is looking at someone and feeling disapproval about something about them. The disapproval that they are projecting may be affecting the person who's being disapproved of. But the thing that we most want to say is that the person who is doing the disapproving is not in vibrational harmony with their inner being who is not doing the disapproving. And so they are at odds, they are at discord, and we want to say, in many of these cases, severe discord with who they are.
And most bullies are. And how do you explain that to a 5-year-old? And how do they get into alignment with themselves?
So since they are in severe discord with who they are, in that awful feeling, they now need someone or something to explain the feeling. And so instead of understanding that the feeling is because they are at odds with who they are, they're here in judgment and their inner being is not in judgment, so the discord is uncomfortable to them, they need to assign the reason for their discord on the object of their attention. Isn't that interesting? That's what you eventually understand, or you do understand, and that you explain to someone else. This isn't about you, and it isn't personal. This person is just using you, and it doesn't matter what the judgment is about. But a person in judgment who is now feeling hatred or discord about someone's behavior or appearance is not resonating with who they really are, and they need someone to blame the way they feel on. That's that conditional thing that we were talking about. And what they're really saying is, if you would stop being gay, or if you would stop doing whatever it is you're doing, that is the reason that is happening at the same time I'm having this negative emotion. So I'm thinking it's something that you need to change, not something that I need to change. You hearing this? And so they're in a trap, because you're not going to change. You're certainly not going to stop being gay. You're not going to change.
It's not so much about what the other people, I don't know that he's even struggling. He's pretty clear about who he is, but we're not even sure. You know, he's letting his hair grow long, like say, wearing the dresses.
We may be answering a broader question than you think you are specifically answering.
That's true.
But the reason that we are is because there are so many people in distress because of their judgment of things. And we would like them to learn how to be unconditional. And it is as hard on the judgers as it is on the judged.
The people who are doing the judging, though, aren't in the receptive mode to be able to hear this message, and it's very hard to get through to them.
If you found them in the street bleeding, you'd want to help them. When you find them in their hatred, you don't feel so much like helping them. Here's the way we would approach this. Their inner being is projecting to them all day, every day, love for all of humanity. And in their finding someone to push against, they are discordant to their own inner being. If they can't hear the steady calling of their own inner being, they are unlikely to hear you. So we wouldn't stand in too much trying to get their attention, because it's sort of wasting your energy and wasting your breath, and you run the risk of, in trying to make them understand, in joining them in their vibration.
True. Do you think there was some purpose of this sweet boy coming into our experience? And he doesn't share any of my DNA, which is another curious thing that, like I say, we don't know if he's going to be gay or transgender or he just likes wearing dresses. But is there any value in him coming this way to teach a lesson to my sister or to me?
Well, it's not a lesson. We don't really encourage you thinking in terms of lessons. But there are very strong intentions that are present within all of you as you make the decision to come forth into your physical bodies. And what this is about, and there are so many coming forth with this powerful intention. Your world is conditional and factioning off into camps of sameness and pushing against others. And so when someone comes forth in an obvious presentation that is unchangeable, like autism or a preference of gender that doesn't seem to match up the way others in their conditional world would like it to, or. There are a lot of people who are coming forth so strong, you said this, so strong in their understanding of who they are, that they're not just going to be that easy, moldable, pliable person so that someone else can use them as their object of attention to feel good without understanding about focus. We really mean this when we say that most people are looking for really cooperative, lovely people to hang around with. And when you find one, you would like everybody to be more like that. But when someone is really easy for you to feel good about, they don't really give you any opportunity to find your alignment anyway. But when someone is different enough that they upset your belief apple cart, and yet your inner being is calling you toward love and alignment, and you can't find your alignment with your inner being as long as you hold those thoughts that don't allow your alignment, something's got to give. And it's giving a lot of people an opportunity to discover the love that is really who they are. And it's surprising them how easily, because a belief is just a thought that you keep thinking. And yet people are lining up in camps and dying over beliefs that are just thoughts that you keep thinking.
We're seeing that, and it's been a wonderful blessing that this child came into both of our lives.
Esther would say to us, but Abraham, it's true. There'd be some belief that she would hold that would just keep presenting itself to her as fact over and over again, but it's true. And we would say to her, what's that got to do with anything? And she just couldn't believe she was hearing that. What? What do you mean? And we said, all that a truth is, or a fact is someone holding something as their object of attention long enough that it comes into actualization. Instead of saying it's true, we would begin saying it's something that I desire, or it feels good when I think about it. Because there are a lot of things that are true that you do not want to be part of your experience. And there are a lot of things that you believe are true that you do want to be part of your experience. So the criteria for what we give our attention to wouldn't be whether it's factual or not, because there are lots of facts that you don't want to replicate in your experience. Our criteria would be, how does it feel when I think this thought, or how does it feel when I focus upon it? And that's the reason that many are coming forth to give many others the opportunity to find this freedom. And this is the only place that freedom can ever be found. Because as long as you need one other person to be one bit different in order for you to feel good, you are trapping yourself.